Good afternoon and welcome to Second Chance. Second Chance is a weekly talk show that examines a wide range of social issues and seeks to inspire physical, emotional, social, and spiritual healing, believing that God is a God of second chances, and through faith, all things are possible. Second Chance airs live each week from the beautiful campus of Oakwood University and features real people with real issues and offers real answers. And now, here's your host, Kenneth Anderson.
Good afternoon and Happy New Year to everyone who's tuning into the broadcast this afternoon. The broadcast is the Second Chance radio broadcast, still 2 full months plus into celebrating our 35th year of broadcasting. We're as excited as ever. And as we have turned the corner from 2025 to 2026, I'm even more inspired to know that throughout this year, we plan to bring you some of the best programming that we've ever been able to bring you because of the magic of technology. Technology is one of those things that just expands your world in ways that you can absolutely appreciate because of all of the many things that you're now able to do and all of the ways that you're able to connect with the people that you need to reach in order to be able to magnify this experience. Now, there are people listening this afternoon at 90.1 FM. We thank you for tuning in on the radio. There are people who are tuning in at WJOU.org, so we know people are listening all over the world today. And of course, we're going to invite you to start your new year off right by hopping over to the live stream on YouTube, on Praise 90.1 FM, as well as Facebook. That's Praise 90.1 FM on YouTube and Facebook, and you can actually see the experience of what so many people are experiencing from an audio perspective. Now, later in the broadcast today, I'm going to share some thoughts about this transition from 25 to 26. A lot of people are excited about making resolutions and making sure that they transform their lives in 2026. And I want to lend a perspective on that. I'm going to share why I'm treating 2016 like a portfolio, not a promise. So stay tuned for my closing comments today as we have an opportunity to be able to share some special thoughts with you on the broadcast, the first broadcast of 2026. My first guest is up and ready, and I'm ready because he's ready. Let me introduce you to my first guest. My first guest is, I'm going to say no stranger to this broadcast because the last time he was here just a couple of weeks ago, he just elevated the platform and sent a seismic shockwave so strong that he doesn't even know this, I think, but we actually replayed that broadcast last Sunday. So people got a chance to experience one more time. And so this continuity of the Vince Rountree experience is exciting for me. And we're going to just carry it forward today. Vince is a national board certified health and wellness coach, author, and speaker who's passionate about helping people with weight loss, diabetes, high blood pressure, and high cholesterol to reduce their dependency on medication or get them off completely. He has created something that we're going to really talk about today, which is the Redline Challenge. And I think that since it's January the 3rd, people still have just a couple of days to get on board, perhaps, because he kicks that off on January the 5th. And I'm excited that he's here today because his being here today means that it's never too late to make the changes and transformations that you so desire. Vince, my friend, what's going on today? Happy New Year to you.
Kenny Anderson, thank you so much for having me back. I am excited. I am ready to rock and roll. And we are here. It is a new year. Man, I am ready and I thank you. And let's get the show on the road.
Let me ask you before we get into all the good meat. I'm going to say meat and potatoes. Well, we call it plant-based meat and potatoes. But I'm going to first of all say, what does the transition from one year to the next mean to you personally?
That's a really good question. It's a time for a new beginning. There's something I think very innate in all of us that wants to improve. And when the calendar gets to the end of one year, it's a time to reflect on what you did well, areas that you can improve, and then what do you want the next year to be? Personally, I have my own process that I do where I kind of go through that. I look at what went well, what did not go well, what do I want to improve on, and then what do I want to put in place that will help me to reach those goals that I want to reach? How can I improve? How can I be better? So that's kind of what, and this is just such a good time of year to do that for all of us.
Yeah, we define it as a collective in many ways. Some people call it a reset. Some call it a restart. Some call it a rejuvenation or another opportunity, certainly a second chance, as this show certainly has been able to shine that light for so many years. But this really is a good time of year, I think, because it reminds me of what happens in the spring. You go through a winter, it can be kind of harsh. Things have died and slowed down a little bit. It's dark most of the time, rather than light. And then spring comes along, and it's like this rebirth and this new opportunity of life that people begin to embrace. They almost come out of their corners and their holes, and they start experiencing life to its fullest capacity. So this is a tremendous opportunity. And the last time you were here, Vince, you set a fire in a lot of people because you told your own personal testimony. And I would strongly encourage people to go back. It's archived on Praise 90.1 FM on YouTube and Facebook. You can go back and check it out. In fact, we're also pulling some clips down, and we're going to start sharing them on Instagram. So we hope that you'll check those out as well on the Second Chance and Kenny Anderson page on Instagram. But listen, you really said some things that was so relevant to this whole space that we're in today of transitioning from one year to the next that resonated with so many people. And I promise you, I had so many people tell me, I listened to the show the other day. What was that guy's name? And all I said, Vince. Now I had 3 guys on the show that day, but I immediately said Vince. And that's him. That's him. They got excited about it. They got excited about what you shared. And I just wanted to continue that journey because, again, I know the Redline Challenge is going to begin soon. So let's start right there. And let me set the context for the conversation in this. One of the last things I asked you in the conversation that we first had was, how can people best make the move in terms of defining for themselves how they choose to live? With all of the stuff that's happening, and you had that same experience with a lot of noise in your life and things like that, and you kind of learn how to navigate that process and focus on something. So now that you bring something to people that literally helps them improve their lives through education, through lifestyle assessment and inventory, etc., and practice. And it became the Redline Challenge. But talk to us a little bit about what the Redline Challenge is and why you developed it for people who are looking for transformation in their lives.
Yeah, man, so good. So what the Redline Challenge is we advertise it as a 5-day weight loss challenge. And if you want to lose weight, it is a fantastic way for you to lose weight without ever being hungry. And that in and of itself is a reason to join the Redline Challenge, but it gets to be so much more than that. You see, my personal journey is that I had high cholesterol. Doctor wrote me a prescription for medication. And I said, is there anything else I can do? He said, well, it runs in your family, nothing you can do about it. And for some reason, I didn't believe him. I mean, I believe that's what he knew, but I also believe that I could probably eat differently, and I had no clue what. And my life changed when I came across the work of Dr. Caldwell Esselstyn Jr., who reversed heart disease with nutrition. So I tried it, and my cholesterol went from 240 down to 132. The bad cholesterol went from 170 down to 78. My blood pressure dropped 20 points, and I lost 20 pounds, all in 6 weeks without medication. And that was in 2011. Okay, so this is 14 years ago. And the journey was such a life-changing event for me that my undergraduate degree is in chemical engineering. I like science. I like data. I like facts. I like statistics. And I like to understand why things work. So I have been educating myself on the link between chronic disease and nutrition for the last 14 years. I go to nutrition conferences, medical conferences every year. I get certifications, different certifications every year to understand that. So this 5-day weight loss challenge is a weight loss challenge. And on average, get this, average, people lose 4 pounds in 5 days without ever being hungry. And that's the average. But it's more than that. What also happens in these 5 days is I'm going to explain how to reverse type 2 diabetes. Now, it is extremely unfortunate for us, and understand how prevalent type 2 diabetes is. Half of all adults either have diabetes or pre-diabetes. Half of all adults.
Wow.
And when they go to their doctors, the doctors are going to tell them, hey, you need to start the metformin and you got to count your carbs. And that's what they're trained in medical school. So there's no conspiracy. And that's what they are taught. They are taught that diabetes is a chronic disease. Don't know how it starts, but you'll be on medication for the rest of your life. Once a diabetic, always a diabetic. And we know now that is absolutely not true. For many, many, many people, type 2 diabetes can be reversed with food. And I'm going to explain how and why to do that on the first day, on Monday of the challenge. Then on Tuesday, I'm going to explain how to prevent or reverse many types of cancer with nutrition. The third day, on Wednesday, I explain how to prevent and reverse heart disease. So there's no better way to start the new year ever than losing weight and learning how to reverse chronic disease at a teeny, tiny price. People ask me all the time, Vince, why do you only charge? And we may change it, but right now we only charge $7 for all of this education. And people understand why. And the reason why is that I want the world to know this. When you go to your doctor, understand that your doctor has been trained how to write prescriptions and how to do surgical procedures. It is not a part of their training to use this tool over here called nutrition. And when doctors go to medical school and they go through their residencies and they go through all of their fellowships, and never are they taught that we can use nutrition to reverse heart disease, to reverse type 2 diabetes, to bring down your blood pressure, to revert, and so many things that nutrition can fix. That's just not a part of their training. So they don't share that with you. But for almost no money at all, you can get this education and you can experience for yourself what it's like to eat as much as you want and still lose weight. And that works through this concept called calorie density. We can talk about that.
Yeah, I want to talk about that next, but I want to first of all jump in there and say how excited I am listening to you. And there are people who should be just as excited, because there are people out there right now who've made the commitment. We're in a new year. I'm going to lose some weight. Vince has a plan for you that can not just help you get to your goal, but can perhaps even save your life, to minimize your dependence on medication, to create a quality of life that you've only imagined or haven't experienced for a long time. And the idea that these things are available, I love what you said about the fact that there's no conspiracy in this process. I mean, doctors aren't in a room colluding saying, we're going to, keep this information away from people. No, they haven't been given the information, or it's just a very small percentage. I think I've heard like one class sometimes that they experience in graduate school that it involves a measure of nutritional information. I mean, if everything is talking medication and surgery, then that's what they're going to tell you. That's how they've been trained. So I love what you're saying, and I hope that others are excited as well. Talk to us about the calorie density concept.
So this is something that I learned about that I think makes weight loss so simple, not necessarily easy, but just simple to understand. Let me explain it like this. What determines whether an object floats or sinks in water? The answer is its relative density. The density of a rock is more than the density of water. So when you put a rock in, it sinks. The density of a beach ball is a lot lower than the density of water. So you put that on top of the water and it floats. Whether you gain or lose weight is a function of the density of the foods that you eat. You see, if you eat foods that have a very high calorie density, calorie density is the number of calories per pound of food. So imagine you've got a pound of food that's right here. This pound of food can either carry 4,000 calories or it can carry 0 calories. Now, this is a fact. Oil has 4,000 calories in a pound. Water has 0 calories in a pound. And so what I've done is put all foods on this big chart for calorie density, from the lowest, which is water, which is 0, to the highest, which is oil, which is 4,000 calories per pound. And I drew a red line at right around 600 calories per pound. I did the math. You don't have to do none of the math. And here's the thing. If you eat the foods below the red line, you can eat as much as you want and still lose weight. Why is that? Because you get full before you can take in too many calories. And so the reason why, on average, in my 5-day challenge, people lose on average 4 pounds in 5 days and they were never hungry is because they're eating low calorie dense foods and they're in a calorie deficit. You see, in order to lose weight, you've got to be in a calorie deficit. They're in a calorie deficit, but they don't realize it because they're full. You see, if you eat foods that have a high calorie density, you eat the small amount, but you get a lot of calories. And so you're like, the only way to lose weight is to be hungry because you're eating foods where it's a little bit, but it has a lot of calories. So in order to lose weight, you have to eat even less. And now you're like, well, I'm hungry, so this is not going to work. At some point, I'm going to say, listen, I need to eat. But what I'm saying is, if you eat foods with a low calorie density, eat all you want. Eat all you want. But what time do I have to stop eating? For my 5-day challenge, I say this. If you wake up at 2 a.m, you want to eat as much as you want. Make sure it's below the red line and eat as much as you want. So when you get the 5-day challenge, you're going to get some onboarding videos where I go into this in detail and explain exactly how it works. You're going to download we've got a 50-page workbook that's got recipes, it's got grocery lists, it's got explanations on what you're going to get through the challenge and tips. And you get all of that for just, right now it's $7. We may raise that at some point, but right now it's just $7 and all of these free talks. So it will be an education that will last you the rest of your life. That's probably worth $7,000 and you're only going to pay $7,000.
It easily worth $7,000 or more because the person who is in crisis because of a health situation,
exactly,
there's no amount of money that they would not pay if they could get their hands on it in order to feel better. So why not do the preventive thing and do this thing that can benefit your health? I'm talking with Vince Rountree this afternoon. He is a phenomenal certified health advocate. And he, of course, is sharing information about the Redline challenge that begins tomorrow, actually, because today is January 4th. And you got time to get in on this thing, folks. I'm telling you, for just $7, everybody should be signing up. And for the assets that support this challenge and the things that you're going to get from that can help you, the videos, the list, the suggestions, the recommendations, the recipes. I mean, there's a whole list of stuff that can benefit you. Now, I want to ask this question because, you got those folk listening this afternoon. They're saying, well, it sounds awfully good, but I don't know. I'm going to just throw my hands up and admit I don't have the discipline. I got the $7, but I just don't have the discipline in order to be able to do this. And we live in a society, unfortunately, Vince, that seeks the low road as opposed to the high road. The high road, of course, is taking the time, exercising the discipline to invest in this journey. The low road is saying, well, look, if I get sick, I can take a medication, because that's the way, people buy into the medical industry and what they have to offer in terms of getting a quick fix. We see it with Ozempic and other kinds of things like that right now. People just think if the problem exists, I'm going to take a pill to deal with it. How do you share with people who have that mindset that their health challenges really are all about a quick fix?
Yeah. So I love the way you set that up for me, Kenny. Thank you. The difference is between treating the symptoms versus treating the cause. I want you to understand that weight loss, diabetes, heart disease, many cancers, high blood pressure, high cholesterol, all of these things are caused by a poor diet. And so if you don't change your food, but you take the pill, then you will always have the illness. And in fact, that's what the doctor tells you. Once a diabetic, always a diabetic. You got to take these blood pressure pills the rest of your life. You got to take these cholesterol pills the rest of your life. The fact is, so many chronic conditions are caused by the foods that we eat. And what I am asking you to do is to treat the cause. If you put a Band-Aid on it, if you take a pill to try to get your glucose down or your cholesterol down, there is some benefit to doing that. I'm not saying there's no benefit. There is a benefit to doing that, but it's not treating what caused the problem in the first place. Let's talk about diabetes for a second. Diabetes is the number one cause of limb amputation, the number one cause of kidney disease, the number one cause of blindness, and also dramatically raises your risk of heart attack and stroke. And that's when you're taking the medicine. So you say, well, I don't need to change anything. I just take the pill. Well, while taking the pills, diabetes is the leading cause of kidney failure, the leading cause of limb amputation, the leading cause of blindness, elevated risk of heart attack and stroke. That's if you take the road, the path of, I'll just take the pill. Because you see, you still have insulin resistance, which is the underlying cause. But insulin resistance is caused by your food. So if you eat differently, if you get rid of the saturated fats, if you get rid of the oils, and you eat a clean diet, now we can reverse it, and we reverse the entire condition. Now you won't get blind. Now you won't have kidney failure. Now you won't have limb amputation, because you no longer have the pathology of the condition. So your condition has literally been reversed. And I want to tell you something, Kenny. I went through an 18-hour certification by the American College of Lifestyle Medicine on how to reverse diabetes and put insulin resistance or reverse insulin resistance and put diabetes into remission. 18-hour certification. It's meant for doctors, but I was able to go through it, and I took it because it's information I wanted to share with the people that I work with. Unfortunately, there's not a single doctor in this country that's required to take that training. Now, there are doctors it was created for doctors, and there are doctors that practice lifestyle medicine. You can find them. They're kind of hard to find, but they do exist. You and I went to a conference with a bunch of doctors that practice lifestyle medicine. So they definitely exist. And that's who the certification for reversing insulin resistance and putting type 2 diabetes into remission, that's what that training is for. But doctors aren't required to train that. So most doctors don't know that type 2 diabetes can absolutely be reversed because it's not in their training. And that is so sad. So you may be thinking, hey, I'll just take the pill. But I want you to know, as long as you're taking that pill, it's not treating the cause. It is only treating the symptoms. And I'm not saying there's no benefits. There are benefits. Listen, I don't tell anybody to not take their pills. In fact, I don't tell anybody what to eat. I'm an educator and a coach. My job is to educate you. I get the latest science and I share it with my clients. And then if you decide with that education to make the change, okay, then I'll coach you on to making a change. But I don't tell you what to eat. I will never, ever tell you to take a pill or not take a pill. That's not my lane. I'm not a licensed healthcare professional. I am steeped in the education of using nutrition to reverse chronic disease. And I share that education with everybody who wants to listen, because in my heart of hearts, I believe the world needs to know this. Over 100 million adults have type 2 diabetes or pre-diabetes in this country. And when they go to the doctors, they're not hearing this. But I have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of clients who have followed me, and now they're not on any medication and their numbers are normal. And I think that's what your doctor's goal should be, but it's not. It's not. And so as you're starting the new year, if you want to improve your health, give me 5 days to show you what this can do for you. Go all in for just 5 days and watch what happens to your body.
This is good stuff, Vince. I tell you, time always flies when we're having such a great time informing people about something that's so important and so valuable. In the last couple of minutes that we have, let people know more about how they can connect with the Redline Challenge before it begins tomorrow, or know that it will also take place again in the future. Website, social media presence. Give us those contact points so people can know how to get energized and fired up for 26.
Yeah, well, a lot of ways. Number one, you can go to your friend Google and type in the Redline Challenge, and we'll be the first one that comes up under the Redline Challenge. Or if you can go into just the top URL and type in redlineticket.com, redlineticket.com, and it'll come up. Or if you're on Facebook or Instagram, you can find us under The Food Fixers, And that's where you can find us. And we would love to help you. It is our desire. It is our passion. It's my personal mission in life to share this information with everybody that wants to learn and improve. The one thing that I cannot provide for you is the desire. If you say, hey, listen, man, look, I'm happy with where I am right now, then I say, God bless you. I'm happy for you. But if you are tired of medications, if you are tired of being overweight, if you are tired of the way you feel, you're tired of the brain fog, if you are tired of having low energy, give me a chance. Give me 5 days, and I promise you, by the end of those 5 days, your body will feel differently, and you'll be glad you did it.
He is Vince Rountree, an extraordinary, certified health advocate who is focusing on changing your life one step at a time, wants to take charge of your experience to empower you, to energize you, to assist you and support you on the journey. Again, I love what you said, Vince. You don't tell nobody what to do, but you're going to put the information out there and let them make that choice and decide on how they land in that process. It's the redlinechallenge.com. You want to check it out, and you want to make sure that you sign up for it. Just $7, folks. I mean, what do now listen, let's I got 30 seconds. Let's keep it real for a second. You're going to spend $7 at Starbucks. You know that. You're going to spend $7 at Mickey D's. You know that. You're going to spend it. You pick your place. You're going to spend it there and then some. This is about preserving life and doing it before it's too late. And that's really what I hope for you in 2026. Vince, you got to come back and talk to me again, brother.
Anytime, any place. I am happy to do it. I'm honored to be on your show. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to share this with your audience. I am so happy to be here and looking forward to doing it again.
Thank you, brother. And the next time we're going to have some of those Redline Challenge victors come on and talk about their experience.
I got a long list. You
That
just tell
army
me
of
when and where.
All right, brother. Talk to you soon, man.
You got it. Thanks a lot, Kenny.
All right. Take care.
All right, man.
What a great way to start out our first show of the brand new year. Vince Rountree just dropping the science and the knowledge and the education and the inspiration in order to fine-tune your life and get on track in a way that can be helpful to you and beneficial to you in a very powerful and very positive way. We're going to keep the ball rolling this afternoon. My next guest is here and ready to roll. He's Justin Lockett, and Justin is a community mentor and violence prevention advocate based right here in the beautiful city of Huntsville, Alabama. After losing his brother to gun violence, Justin turned his pain into purpose by founding the Jared M. Lockett Foundation and the League of Legacy Mentoring Program. He's been on the broadcast before, but it's been too long, so I saw him recently and invited him back on. I don't forget what he's doing because it's heavy steps in this community, folks, the way he's making an impact on people's lives. Justin, what's going on, brother? Happy New Year to you.
Hey, Happy New Year to you also. Thank you for another opportunity to join you and discuss the work that we're doing in the community. And thank you for your platform. And it's always a pleasure to have a conversation with you.
Man, likewise, I just respect so much what you've got going on and the impact that you have. In fact, it's funny because whenever I see you, I'm just reminded about the great work that you're doing and the fact that so many people do work in, I won't say anonymity, but in silence. They're not up in big lights and out there, flashing all over the place. Here's what I'm doing. Look at me and that kind of thing. I know where your heart is. I know where your purpose is, and the impact that you're having is amazing. I believe you have someone with you today. Is that true?
I do. I have Zion Barber. Yes, sir.
Zion is here. Well, hey, Zion, how are you doing?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing great now that you're here. I mean, it wouldn't be the show. Show wouldn't be complete if you were not here. So we got to make sure we welcome you in a proper way as well. So thank you for joining us today. I assume you're a member of the League of Legacy Mentoring Program.
Yes, sir. Been in. I was about nine.
And you're how old now?
16.
Oh my goodness! Well, you do have a story to tell. Well, we're going to do this in a nice way this afternoon and let people know what's going on. Justin, first of all, tell us about this foundation that you founded. It was founded under very sad circumstances, but talk a little bit about that.
Yes, sir. So in 2012, my brother was shot and killed right before he was to graduate from UAH. He passed December 15th, 2012, to be exact. And I wanted to speak out against gun violence. I didn't want my brother to just be another hashtag, another name, something that we remember today, forget tomorrow, and move on. Because too often you see young Black boys falling victim to gun violence. And not only that, perpetrating these type acts. So a couple years later, in 2015, when those who killed my brother, who murdered my brother, were sentenced to prison, I remember sitting in the courtroom with my parents, and I looked around, and though you had a feeling of justice, like they're going to prison, but it didn't feel good. It felt like everybody in here was losing. And so I had conversations with friends of mine, and I thought maybe we could do more. So how could we get more in touch with the community and help young Black boys realize that they're valuable? And I believe that when you believe that you have a lot of value within yourself, you see that in your peers. And when a difference arises, you don't want to resort to violence to handle that conflict. And I believe that more and more of these young Black boys, if they hold their head up and believe in themselves and they execute in the classroom and outside of the classroom, they learn about Black history, who they are, where they come from. They travel, they meet other people in other areas, whether it be the military, the professional world, or a trade. They can make the best decision for their lives. And they don't think that there's only one way out, and it's violence. And ultimately, that's where it came from.
It's been 10 years since you've been on this journey. How would you generally characterize the journey at this point?
I would say it's probably, I wouldn't even say probably, it's the most fulfilling thing I've ever done. I don't have children of my own, but to be able to sit back and watch Kanari, Deontay, Zion, Talon, and watch these young men come into their own, it makes my heart proud. It makes me feel full. And it gives me purpose every day. And I tell them quite often, and I don't think they'll realize it until they get older, But a lot of times people look at me and commend me for what I do for them. But I don't think people realize that that relationship is two ways. And there's been times that I've been down and I've had really horrible moments in my life. But to be able to turn to them and see the look in their faces and see the things that they're accomplishing, that gives me continued sense of purpose and helps me push through whatever I'm going through because of them.
Yeah. Wow. That is so powerful. And Zion, as you sit here listening to Mr. Lockett talk and you share about the journey that began on a very sad note, that the design was to do something very positive and productive to support people like you. You said you've been in this program since you were 9 and you're 16 today. First of all, tell me how you got into the program and what were those early experiences like for you?
Well, initially, it was my birthday, and my mom, she put me in this group, right? It just did Lockett Foundation. And it was this event at the news station. I showed up. It was my first time, brand new. Something new to me because I've never tried something like that before. And we welcomed me with open arms. It's a brand new experience, like I said, and just made me feel welcome. And with that, starting off, as a child, I really needed somebody to run to because I have bad anger issues. And it's kind of hard for me to express my feelings, which will lead to me holding it all in, tensing up, and then one little thing triggering it, and I just go off. Now with Justin, like I said, he opened me with arms, and with somebody I could talk to. He allowed me to elaborate my feelings, help me figure out ways to stop myself from just acting out, and yeah.
Yeah, wow, that's inspiring listening to you talk and share. I got to ask you this, you're 9 years old. There's got to be some structure to the program where you got to go to meetings, other kinds of events and things like that. Were there ever times when you were thinking, man, I'd really rather be doing something else than be sitting in this meeting?
Honestly, yes, sir.
No, it's okay to keep it real because we've all been there. Even as adults, we've been there.
That's true.
But I've learned valuable lessons every meeting that even if I didn't want to be there, I was very valuable there.
Yeah.
Tie a bow tie. Properly iron. I learned car parts. I've learned a lot of things, a lot of valuable lessons. Even though I didn't want to be there, I learned a whole lot more Black history than I would have, like, in my free time. Like, it just brought something new to the table. Just opened up my horizon, like, allowing me to learn from a different perspective.
Yeah. That's great, Zion. As I'm listening, Justin, the work you do is not only righteous work, but I think it is one of the most challenging things that a person can do. It is not easy. As much as we may want to move into the lives of young brothers and try to make sure that they're on the right path, whatever the circumstance their life might be, that's some challenging work. Talk to me a little bit about how you work to build rapport and create a community of opportunity for these young kids, and then are able to sustain your journey in this process.
So the building rapport, from the outside looking in, it may seem, I can see others say, oh man, this is a lot dealing with, because right now it's 18 of them in the program. But I think what I do is I bring myself to their level and then try to be as vulnerable and open, as transparent as I can be. I often tell them that I truly want to see them go further than I ever imagined that I could. And as I learn lessons, even at 39, I try to teach those lessons to them. And I tell Zion all the time, you learning my lessons that I'm learning later in life at 16, 14, 12, you're bound to go so much further. But we have so much fun. We play games, we talk, and I don't believe in sugarcoating things or making things sound a certain kind of way with them. And I think with the authenticity that I bring, and the love, quite often we say I love you to each other, and we all go back. I think when you see us at the gala, whether you see us online, wherever, it's very obvious how close knit this group is.
Yes.
And I think it ultimately stems from my brother, right? The love that I have for my brother who's no longer here, I have taken that love and put it in these young men, And I think they feel it, their moms feel it, and it's something real. It's not something that I fake. And they know at the drop of a hat, if they call me, I'll be there. If I can make myself there, I will.
Mm.
And it doesn't matter what I have going on. I might ignore phone calls all day long, but let one of them call. I'm picking up that phone.
I love that. I love everything you said there. And I really love the fact that you talked about being vulnerable and transparent. I think that's one of the things that adults often miss when they're talking to young people. We want to cover things up, want to hide things. I'm not saying go out there and say everything that can be said, but I'm talking, look, these young brothers see who you are. They know you're a human. They know that you have challenges and concerns and issues. Whether we talk about them or not, we know they're there. And it's good to be able, I think, to create the environment where you can have those honest, transparent conversations.
Yes, sir.
Zion, we mentioned the gala, the 100 Black Men Gala. And of course, my gala is never complete until I get a chance to take my photo with the brothers. And it's like whenever I find Justin in the crowd or Justin finds me in the crowd, I'm like, where the guys? Let's take this picture.
Yes.
That always is a very meaningful time for me. But what is it like for you, Zion, to be able to go to events like that and experience life in different kinds of ways?
It's a real eye-opener. Like the gala that we went to for about 2-3 years now as a group. And it's new. It's something new to me because I've never went to a gala before, which is nice, and I like it. Plus, like the opportunity they show you a lot of stuff. They have a lot of connections to different businesses, brands, things of that nature, and they're really open about it. Like, I'm pretty sure you go talk to them about it, they'll have offers, give you a chance to learn more about it and stuff of that nature.
Yeah. Well, I love that for sure. Justin, of course, you are a nonprofit agency and you have an opportunity to be supported by people who may want to pour into your organization. Talk to me a little bit about how people can connect with you, perhaps find out more about your organization. If they have an interest in supporting the organization, how would they go about doing that? And then tell me about social media presence as well, if you have that.
Absolutely. So our website is jaredmlockettfoundation.org, JARRODMLOCKETT foundation.org. You can go on that website and you can see the various things that we've done in the past. Also, there's an opportunity to donate on that website. And then you can also submit an inquiry, whether you want to admit your child to the program or whether you want to help. We always take as much help as we can get. We're also on social media at JML Foundation, and no matter the platform, you type in JML Foundation, we come up. And I just think it's a beautiful thing to see what these young men are doing and see how they're growing. There have been several people who for a while have watched them grow. And also, sometimes when I go out, there are people that I saw one of your young men. I met Zion. He's in my class. And so they don't know at this level, they don't know, but they'll see it, because I didn't see it when I was young. Everybody said, oh, I saw Major. You saw Major's boy, right? And it's kind of the same thing with them. There are people in the community by relationship that I have that are watching out for them and are doing things and moving things out of their way or putting things in place to protect them that they themselves don't know about. And I think that's a beautiful thing about pushing it out and letting everyone see what we do.
Yeah. Wow. That's very powerful indeed. Zion, I know that what grade are you in right now?
I'm in 10th. I'm a sophomore.
10th grade. You'll graduate certainly in a couple of years, and you're already thinking about college, I know.
Yes, sir.
Any idea on what you might want to do? Of course, we know you can do anything you want to do, but are you narrowing it down to some things?
Yes, sir. I'm thinking about nursing, like CRNA, things of that nature, anesthesiology.
Oh, wow. That sounds awesome. And of course, I know that Mr. Lockett does his best to do that. But if I can do anything to put you under the wing of some people in that area and give you some insight and some direction, I'm very happy to do that because I stand with you and want to see you succeed as well. So continued best wishes to you. I hope that this organization continues to be the trailblazer that it is in this community. And Justin, come back and talk to us, man. I'm not gonna wait, annually to have you come on. I'll probably do it at least twice a year and bring you on and kind of find out what's going on. And I love the fact that we had a chance to talk to Zion. Maybe we can talk to some of the other guys as well.
Yes, sir. Okay, we'll do that. And thank you for the opportunity to shine a light on what we do.
Absolutely. Look forward to additional opportunities. You guys take care.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Take care, Zion.
Yes, sir.
Wow. The beat goes on a great show here for the first of the new year. Happy New Year once again to everyone. I'm so grateful and thankful to have all of you with us today. And of course, we're ready to, I believe, talk to my next guest right now. I'm going to bring him on because I've been interested and excited about having him back ever since the last time he was with us. He is David Trofort. And of course, he's a renaissance man. I mean, he's so many different things. But I'm going to tell you, first of all, that he's the author of a book called Eat, Pray, Run, a food, faith, and fitness guide for new and renewed runners, with a foreword by none other than E.T., the hip-hop preacher. And of course, the last time David was here, we were talking about the book, and it was around the new year. We were giving him an opportunity to really kind of shine the light on how people might approach this whole issue of fitness and things like that. But let me also tell you, he's a dedicated husband, father, musician, educator, and running enthusiast. He's a health advocate and motivational speaker. Part of his inspiration was an ACL tear replacement in 2009 that has led him in a direction to not just live his best life, but write a book, of course. And we're so honored to have him here today. David, what's going on, my brother?
Hey, greetings. So glad to be on. Hope all is well. How's the holidays been treating you?
Holidays have been treating me well, man. But when you're retired, every day feels like a holiday. And what's really funny is to have the time that you own. It's like 24 hours in a day is what it is. You do whatever you want to do. And when you're committed to something, whatever that thing might be, you do as much of that as you need to. Absolutely. And so I'm just in a real sweet spot right now in terms of just managing and orchestrating my life. And God has been good to me on that. And on the lifestyle tip,
come on,
he is blessing me, man. Your boy is 68 years old, man. I turned 69 this year. And
get out of here. I don't believe it. I don't believe it.
Here's my driver's license. O to be carded,
O to be carded. I gotcha.
But listen, man, I am very invested in my health for so many different reasons. And the last time you were here, you talked about this book that I found very compelling because you talked about Eat, Pray, Run, which suggested something about how we approach this whole journey of lifestyle management. Mm-hmm. And then in the first part of the year, again, people are talking about all these kinds of things. I thought it'd be great to have you come back on. So talk to me again generally about what does this book represent for people who might get a hold of it?
Absolutely. Again, thank you for letting me be on. Eat, Pray, Run is all about maximizing your life as it relates to food, as it relates to fitness, as it relates to your spiritual growth and development. Of course, 2009, I tore my ACL and didn't think I would be much of a running enthusiast. But in 2018, I did complete my first marathon, the Chicago Marathon, which didn't have a lot of hills. And I'm thankful that I placed pretty well for my age. And so I've adopted this lifestyle now where I put my health first. Of course, my relationship with God is number one. Yeah. But considering that we are temples, we are living sanctuaries, it does us favor, or I should say it does us justice to put our best self forward. And to do that, you have to maximize your health. Your health is more important than any aspect of your life. Let me go here. You can have 1,000 problems until your health is compromised. And then you only have one problem. Everything stops when your health becomes, the issue. And so I have decided that I wanted to make the rest of my life the best of my life. And how do I do that? I have now adopted a discipline where I am eating clean. I'm plant-based. I'm exercising 5 days a week. I don't run every single day. Some people think I do. but I'm including not only cardio, but strength conditioning, stretching especially for persons who are very active. Stretching is so important. And of course, not to mention eating healthy and being disciplined in that area. I think the biggest challenge is not the exercise component, but it's having the discipline to say, I'm not going to put that in my stomach, or I'm not going to eat that because it's going to adversely affect my body.
Yeah, wow. My first guest today, Vince, and I were talking about this very thing, establishing a discipline and a commitment for our lives that results in outcomes that can help us sustain a lifestyle as we grow older. Because as we grow older, we don't just want to grow wiser. We also want to be physically healthy. We don't want to be beat down and on medications and in hospitals and on equipment and things of that nature. And that's awfully very challenging. I also find compelling about your book, Eat, Pray, Run, that the element of spirituality is also blended into this process. Some people might say it's at the core. Some people might say it's at the foundation. Talk to me about that element of this journey as well.
Absolutely. Being a born again Christian has been transferred. It's the best decision that I made when I gave my life to Jesus Christ. And so I adopt principles that are Bible based. And that is regular devotion, personal time, and knowing that I was created for something unique and special. I'm evolving into this EPR mantra, and it has proven a blessing because, as you have pointed out, so many people are looking at managing 2026 from a health perspective, from a nutritional perspective, and even from a spiritual perspective. And I have to admit that because of my commitment to living for my Savior, Jesus Christ, no apologies there. It compels me to live a disciplined life. It compels me to put certain things into my body that otherwise I would not. And my quality of life has drastically improved because of those sustained commitments and disciplines. They're pillars. And the outcomes, to your point, is that I'm doing better now than I've ever been. Like, I'm in the best shape of my life right now. I'm eating so much better. Not to say that, of course it's been the holidays, but to be truthful, I've been disciplined even over the holidays. And that's really it's not what you do between Christmas and the New Year. It's what you do between the New Year and Christmas that really counts. That's where people drop the ball. It's January to December.
Right.
Yeah, but discipline is something critical. A lot of people out there are trying to figure out, how do I navigate, eating clean or eating healthy? Well, you don't put weight on overnight. All right. And so the same principle, you don't take it off overnight either. It's going to require discipline. It's going to require you putting some time in and getting that sweat equity, is what I like to call it, where you are burning calories, you are operating at a calorie deficit. Most people could stand to lose a few pounds. Most people can. And the way to achieve that is to operate in a calorie deficit. And what that simply means is not eating so much.
Yeah.
Okay.
So let me ask you this, because we got all these folk listening this afternoon and they're excited about the new year. A lot of people have made those resolutions. And of course, I've transitioned from resolutions to investments, but that's another story.
Okay.
And I plan to share a little bit more about that at the end of the show today. But there's someone listening this afternoon and you're available to provide some direction, some insight for them, some perspective on the journey. Because they are a little resistant, or they are lacking the discipline, or they're not quite sure how to start. What would you generally say to that person?
I would say, let's start with baby steps. Baby steps, making the commitment that you are going to make a change, but it's not going to happen overnight. So let's take even your eating, for instance. If you think about what you're going to eat in the day, you want to make sure that you're including some protein, that you are including some carbs, but you want to approach it from a plant-based perspective. I'm not knocking all of the meat eaters out there. I'm still a meat eater, but I have dialed back significantly. And that's what I would say to whoever's listening out there. You want to make a change, start today with lunch. Decide that you're not going to eat the fried or the fast. F and F, the fried foods and the fast foods. If you can just steer away from that and do something a little bit healthier, something with some plants, something that include water. Oh my goodness. We're so taste driven, and the society that we live in now says everything has to taste amazing, and it should. But when you become more disciplined in your eating and in your life choices, you sacrifice certain things for a greater good. And I plan on being here a lot longer than most. So I make the daily contribution to my life by dialing back in certain areas and incorporating the strength conditioning and the cardio, which is not limited to running, but getting on that treadmill. Walking is very healthy. And a lot of people feel that if they're not logging in 4 and 5 and 6 miles, that they're not making progress. Go ahead and walk in your neighborhood. Today's a cold day, but go ahead and take a walk. Go to the mall, take a walk and burn some calories. Your body will thank you.
Yeah, I love all of that. And I like the fact that you mentioned baby steps, because that's a great place to start. We're not asking anyone to run the marathon like David's done, you know. How do you eat that elephant? The old saying, how do you eat that elephant? One bite at a time.
One bite at a time. That's right. That's right.
So what we're basically advocating for is, as you approach the new year, you're all excited about this transformative journey. And don't try to do it all. Just kind of focus on some small things and some small wins. Absolutely. And allow that to be the motivation and the catalyst for you to push forward and do even more. And of course, read David's book. How can they get a hold of the book?
They can get a hold of the book at davidtrofort.com or Amazon. All of the online platforms you can find Eat, Pray, Run. But davidtrofort.com would be the best place to go. And of course, I'm promoting my merch. As you can see, this is one of my running fleece, my latest running fleece hoodie. Very comfortable, very sports oriented. And I think you'd love it if you picked one up.
Man, that's dope, man. I'm gonna have to pick me one up, man. Now that I'm in this phase, like I said, this new phase of not having to wear suits every day, man. I'm doing a lot more casual.
There you go.
Hoodies. So I need to go ahead and pick mine up for sure.
But listen, you look good. Whatever you're doing, keep doing it.
I made a change just real quick. I know we got 2 minutes. I made a change. I made a decision 18 years ago at my 50th birthday at a doctor's appointment. And he said, your numbers look good, but you're getting older. And as you get older, this is probably going to happen. That's going to happen, but you can make some changes now to just kind of shut some of that stuff down, to reverse some of that stuff. And wow, what a difference it's made. And I'm talking about the whole body thing, throw in food, the water, the sleep, the non-toxic people in my life, all of that stuff is part of that process. And making sure that self-care is my highest priority. I'll tell people no in a minute and let them deal with the stress of having been told no. It's not my stress, not my issue. It's theirs.
I think the years have taught you that. I think that comes with wisdom.
Absolutely. That comes with wisdom, brother. That's right.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Wisdom is a teacher. Oh, yeah.
That's right. David Trofort is the author of Eat, Pray, Run, a food, faith, and fitness guide for new and renewed runners. We hope that you'll definitely check it out. And all of you who are thinking about transformation in the new year, this would be a great place to lock into that. Brother David, take care of yourself, man. Look forward to talking to you again soon.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me, Ken.
All right, bro. Take care.
Take care.
And the beat goes on, folks. What a great show today. I am so inspired by the guests that I've talked to already. There's more inspiration to come as we move forward. And we're going to bring our next guest on in just a moment. The broadcast is Second Chance. I'm Kenny Anderson, and I hope that you're having an amazing afternoon.
You're listening to Second Chance with Kenny Anderson.
Happy New Year once again to everyone on our first show of the brand new year. So happy that you've taken this time to be with us. And of course, we've had some great conversations thus far about how to make your 2026 the absolute best year that you can make it. And we got a couple more interviews today that we hope will continue to inspire you on this journey as we transition into the brand new year of 2026. My next guest is Meghan Park. She's the CEO of Big Brothers and Big Sisters of the Tennessee Valley, a position she's held since March of 2025. So not quite a year yet. We'll talk a little bit about that. With over a decade of nonprofit leadership experience, she specializes in community engagement, organizational growth, and building multi-stakeholder partnerships. She's had previous work in other areas as well, and I want to chat with her about all of that this afternoon, including a very special event called Honoring Our Mentors that's coming up later this month, and she is here to talk about all of that this afternoon. Meghan, how are you doing today?
Doing well. This is my first day back after a week away for the holidays and jumping back in. Glad to be joining you this afternoon.
Yeah, we're glad to have you back, and Happy New Year to you. As I said, this is the first show of the brand new year, and so we're looking at an opportunity to listen to you and to learn from you and to be made wiser by you and all the great things that you have to say. Those that have listened to the show for a time now, and of course, I think I've told you the show's been on 35 years, we have frequently had people from Big Brothers and Big Sisters, whether that's been the executive director, the CEO, we've had littles, we've had bigs, we've had other people on the show who celebrate this organization, such a wonderful organization. And I love to have conversations about it as much as I can. Talk to me a little bit, Meghan, and for those that are listening this afternoon, about what Big Brothers, Big Sisters is of the Tennessee Valley.
Sure. So for those of you who may be new to the organization, we have been here in the region serving youth and families and folks across the Tennessee Valley since 1983. Our mission is to really enable our next generation to reach their full potential, and we do that through creating mentoring relationships and supporting those as they develop. So we have.
Yeah, and I mean the legacy of this organization, I think, and the impact of this organization is something that I want to focus on and celebrate, because I just got finished talking with Justin Lockett of the Jared Lockett Foundation, which has a mentoring initiative. Of course, I'm a member of the 100 Black Men Greater Huntsville chapter. Of course, Real Fathers Making a Difference, my good friend Elsie Smith. You know, I'm really immersed in that space of mentoring and really not just talking the talk, but walking the walk. In other words, being a part of these organizations in meaningful ways. And I know that's what this organization provides an opportunity for to young people. Talk to me about the power of the influence of the people who take the time to invest in this journey.
Absolutely. Mentors who sign up to be a big or a volunteer mentor in our programs can have a profound impact on the lives of the children that they mentor. We enroll kids starting at age 6 all the way through 18. Hopefully, if all goes well next year, that'll extend all the way through the age of 25. And these mentors, once matched, are with us. We are supporting that relationship through the time that they're 18 or 25. They can have, huge long-term impact with the youth that they're mentoring, and that extends beyond the end of the program. Just because they graduate high school and maybe they move away, it doesn't mean that the relationship ends. We have several board members who were littles or mentees in our program decades ago, and they're still in contact with their big. They're still getting weekly phone calls and that level of support, and have achieved pretty amazing things in their life, not solely due to the mentor. I mean, a lot of that's their own initiative, drive, and grit, but talking to them, that's been a pivotal influence in their lives over the years.
Yeah, I like that because, mentoring is not an event. Mentoring is an investment. that really extends across a lifetime in many instances, where there never really is a time when that relationship ends, except that people may be separated or death may occur or something of that nature. But the awareness and the opportunity that exists because of these relationships that are established, often with kids who are very, very young, that is sustained through periods of school and family life and careers and more. This is very powerful for the ecosystem of communities. It's one reason why I celebrate big brothers, big sisters as much as I do, and I'm sure you would agree with me.
Absolutely. That's just that connection. Supporting an organization that inherently builds connection within a community is a big part of why I was drawn to the mission of Big Brothers Big Sisters. You know, we're living in an increasingly isolated, polarized world. We're more and more disconnected with one another. Kids today are more and more drawn into virtual worlds, phones and tablets, and we exist to not only support youth and provide support through mentoring, but also just build connection within a community. And I think that's, I think as we move forward, that's going to become more and more important over the years.
This is a part of the journey that I get real excited about. It's really kind of talking about what the process is for people, because we got folk listening right now. Again, this is a transition phase for many people. They're thinking about, what can I do this year, perhaps, to make a difference in my community, to make an impact in the community? And we always want a donation, and we'll give people an opportunity to do that later in the show, of course. But the opportunity to invest in a mentor-mentee relationship is something that reaps a huge return on the investment. So talk to me a little bit about what that looks like for someone who might be listening this afternoon. Just kind of walk us through the journey of listening this afternoon, heard it on the Second Chance broadcast, want to make that phone call now. What can that person kind of expect beyond maybe an application process? Talk to me a little bit about the journey.
Sure. You know, I think I'm glad you asked. I think a lot of people have a misconception about what it means to become a mentor with Big Brothers Big Sisters, with another program. It doesn't take a whole lot to be a big with Big Brothers Big Sisters. We're talking an hour a week, 3 or 4 hours a month of meeting with your little, grabbing a slice of pizza, going for a walk in the park, maybe watching a movie, playing basketball. You know, it's whatever you and your little would like to do on the weekend, whatever is going to allow you to do something fun, see something new, and start building that relationship. And so throughout the process, so if you're interested in becoming a big, and that's actually how I found out about Big Brothers Big Sisters. My husband and I had signed up to be bigs years before I ever became the CEO, and hopefully will someday soon. You know, it's not a lot. You decide you want to become a big, you would call our office, you would fill out an inquiry form on our website, and then one of our enrollment specialists or our program manager would contact you, explain a little bit about the organization, how it works, some of the requirements, and describe what the application process would be. If you feel that it's something that's going to fit for you, where you're at, where you're interested in going, we do ask that you commit for a year. So once you decide you want to become a big, we do ask that you would commit to being in the program for a year. So it does work with a lot of college students as well. You'd fill out an application. We would process the application, background checks, reference checks. Youth safety is a huge component of what we do. And then we would have an interview with the potential big, learn a little bit more about what you like to do, what your hobbies are, how you like to spend your time, any thoughts or concerns you have for the relationship, and you would be enrolled in the program as a ready-to-be matched big once all of the application had processed, background checks came back in, things like that. It's a similar process for youth that are interested in being enrolled as well. So there would be an orientation, explain about the program, how it works, expectations, and then there would be a formal interview and application process as well. Once a potential big and a potential little have gone through that entire process, then our match support and program manager and enrollment specialist would sit down and look at our pool of existing potential volunteers and pool of existing children, of which there are hundreds at this point in our system waiting for mentors, and figure out what's going to be a good match, what's geographically close, how do interests align, what are the needs of the child and the family, interests of the mentor, and build a match that makes sense for everybody involved, including the parents, which are probably one of the biggest components of a successful match. Once we have a proposed match in mind and ready to go, we would then arrange a meeting for the parent of the little as well as the mentor and introduce them to one another. Talk a little bit, get to know one another, and if both the parent and the potential big decide that it's going to be a good match, we would then introduce the big or the mentor to their little, and those are pretty magical moments.
Yeah, I got lots of questions just from what you just said. So thank you for sharing that, because you're really helping this interviewer out here to be able to navigate this amazing conversation and what I think is an extraordinary opportunity for people who are listening this afternoon. One of the things that strikes me about what you said that just kind of stood right out is the notion that you debunked the myth that many people may have about this, that this is going to, if I do this, it's going to really kind of turn my life upside down. I've got kids, I've got opportunities, I've got responsibilities I've got to take care of. I'm serving in a church or something of that nature. I've got big shoes here, and I just don't know if I could take on one more thing. You're not asking people to do that. You're asking people to integrate that person into their life for 1 hour a week for 1 year. So that's a big deal when I think about, and really a deal maker when you start thinking about this as an opportunity that somebody might be thinking about.
It takes very little to be big.
Yeah. It's not just talk a little bit about, you said you were big, you and your husband were big.
We've signed up to be, so we're in the enrollment process currently to be matched with a little in our community. Actually, it's a couples match. So you can sign up to become a big just as an individual, or you can also sign up as a couple, as a married couple or committed couple to be matched with a little as well. And
you have kids?
Interested in, doing something where we could still spend time together, we decided to sign up in that capacity.
Yeah. Do you have kids?
I do not.
Okay. So I was just curious because, again, that could have been one of those situations where you have kids and then people are kind of thinking about what the responsibility would be. I think it's awesome that both you and your husband have signed up. I think that's a great way for people to approach it and to support one another in the journey as well. And it just seems like there's a lot of different.
There's a lot of ways in which you can serve as a mentor in your community. And even one of our more recent matches is a mother of, I believe, 3 other young children who is still interested in becoming a big and sharing that part of her life with someone special.
Yeah. A lot of motivation around that. You mentioned that you have a lot of people in the pipeline waiting for mentors. This has got to be one of the biggest challenges that you face as a CEO of the organization. Of course, it'd be great if you could just drop the role immediately and you had people just lining up, 3 or 4 deep saying, I want to be a mentor. That's not necessarily going to happen, but I think stressing the importance of taking a look at this as an opportunity is real critical here, especially at the first of the year again, when people kind of lining their lives up and they're kind of thinking about what the year might look like. This, it seems to me, would be a great time for people to really kind of take a deep breath, go to the website, talk to somebody who is a big perhaps, and kind of talk to you even. I'm sure you're available to kind of talk about what this journey might be like for them. Great time of year to think about this.
Absolutely. If you're considering maybe on the fence as whether or not this is the right time for you, it's not a huge commitment. We're talking, a few hours a month, and beyond giving back to a young person, beyond creating that opportunity to make a pretty profound difference in the life of a young person, for you personally, it's a great opportunity to build more connections within your community, explore your community. We do have match events where we invite all of our current community matches who may never see each other otherwise to come get together once a month and celebrate one another and build community. We also invite prospective mentors who are maybe, wanting to be very sure that this is something that they can commit to and take on at the time to attend our match events and meet folks, talk to folks, meet other mentors, and make sure that they fully understand the idea before taking on the commitment.
Yeah. This organization has been a pioneer and a trailblazer in a lot of ways when it comes to mentoring and building collaborative partnerships and relationships in the community. You had a Bigs and Blue program at one time. Is that program still going on?
It is still going on. We are still working with Huntsville Police Department to actively recruit mentors. And actually, our current and new board president is a Huntsville police officer. So we do have a strong partnership there. It hasn't been as active as some of our other programs. I think you know, and many of our community members may be aware as well, we nearly closed in late 2024. So if you look at our 100 plus kids on our wait list, we also have quite a few mentors that we're still trying to reach out to, contact, interview, and move through the application process as well, making up for what was a pretty dark chapter in our history.
Yeah. How do you use something like that to inspire you to move forward? I mean, just beyond that notion that this is a good thing to do, but let's think about it for a moment. Coming out of the pandemic, a lot of nonprofits didn't survive. Along the journey of some nonprofits, there have been challenges that have caused them to almost come to that brink of losing the opportunity to be available. But that's kind of like always in your mind, and not in a negative way. I would imagine, though, that as a CEO, you're mindful of that, but you also kind of think about that as you move forward. And I'm just curious to know as to how you might use something like that as an opportunity to really expand the mission and the vision for the future of the organization for sustainability.
Absolutely. I mean, if you're not learning from your past history and past events, then you're not going to move forward with all of the knowledge and resources you need to make a difference and make big jumps. As an organization, we have stabilized, luckily. So in late 2024, there were just a series of events that sort of went wrong all at the same time, lots of good intentions, but it just all cascaded into the organization running low on funds. The CEO resigned. We had almost 100% staff turnover. During that time, luckily, we had support from Big Brothers, Big Sisters of the Shoals. We're able to step in and help provide some insight and keep things moving forward. And I think first and foremost, we had a board who stepped up and said, not on my watch. This is not going to happen on my watch. And they put their nose to the ground and figured out what needed to happen to move the needle forward, to fundraise, to bring the organization back online, and as well as continue to support the matches that were already, existing within the organization. And so it was hard, but it worked. In March of 2025, I was able to come on board. They had fundraised enough to kind of get started again and look at reopening and making new matches. And that's what we've been doing ever since. And kind of looking back on that whole process and where we've been and where we need to go, I think there's a lot that's motivating within that. For me personally, probably the single most motivating factor within the whole process is the hundreds of kids on our wait list currently. We have just a huge amount of kids who are in need of a mentor. And we do know that, we have probably 100 some odd mentors as well that have expressed interest, that they're still interested in moving forward in the process. Sometimes matching can be a little hard because we might have a child in Marshall County who's, 50 miles away from any mentor nearby. It would be hard to match somebody with, that large of a geographic distance. Yeah. So we are soon entering a recruitment phase, but, lessons to be learned, I think, probably organizationally, sustainability, and being able to build up a decent enough financial reserve to where if a storm does come in the future, or more so when a storm comes in the future, we're able to weather it with a little bit more resilience. And I think we're getting there.
Yeah, well, congratulations on all of that. And that, of course, before we talk about honoring our mentors, which will be the final thing that we'll get to, I always like to give CEOs and those in authority a chance to celebrate the board members. You've done that a little bit, but I'm going to let you take that a little bit further because, as having been a board member on many boards before, with varying degrees of experiences, when a board comes together in times like that and basically says, not on my watch, you really begin to understand who the real heroes in this thing are. and that people who have that kind of passion and that kind of desire and that kind of investment and that kind of commitment become the backbone of the organization. I mean, these are volunteers. These are people who don't have to do it, but they do it. So I'm just going to give a little more space for celebrating your volunteers, because I know you value them as much as I do from the outside. You're on the inside and you've celebrated them a little bit, but I'm going to give you a little bit more space to celebrate.
I've worked in the nonprofit sphere for just about 10 or so years now, worked with different boards and committees and organizations. I've had a variety of experiences, mostly good, sometimes not so good. This board is fantastic. It is committed, it is close-knit, it is like a family, and we don't always agree, but it's extremely supportive and 100% committed to the mission. And it's inspiring to me to work for an organization that has that underpinning and that level of support from its leadership within the community. Yeah. And I'm excited to see where it grows. We are actually recruiting. So if you have some listeners who are inspired by our mission, who feels they have something to contribute to the organization, we always need mentors. We always need financial support. We also have a few opportunities for potential board members with different skill sets as well, or help with committees, help with special events. There's a lot of different ways in which you could volunteer and become involved with our organization.
I love that. I love all of that. And I hope that people listening this afternoon would take advantage of that opportunity, because there are so many ways to support these organizations that are out there. And there are all kind of considerations that you can make with regards to that as well. And I hope you'll do that this afternoon. We'll give you all that contact information in just a few moments, but wanted to spend the last few minutes in the broadcast talking about the big event that's going to take place toward the end of this month. It's honoring our mentors. It's an event, mentors, and it's an event that really kind of celebrates the volunteers, the bigs, the ones that are out there on the ground every day. They're in the trenches. They're having amazing experiences on the journey of helping to navigate life with the littles. And it's just a beautiful experience. I've had a chance to be there in the past. Look forward to being there again this year. And just wanted to give you an opportunity to talk a little bit about this extraordinary event.
I have never been to an Honoring Our Mentors event, but I'm really excited for it. It's starting to come together, and I think it's going to be truly inspirational. It's going to be fun. We're going to have great food, great entertainment. We have some amazing MCs who will be joining us, including yourself, of course, and Tony Terrell. We're going to have David Battle as our keynote speaker, who is just, I think many of you out there know David. He's an inspirational human and just one of those good people you meet and you immediately look up to. And then we'll also have Richmond Punch, who is a former little brother with Big Brothers Big Sisters, and just an amazing violinist. He is Juilliard and Yale educated, and just a ton of energy. He performed at our national conference, and he had everybody up and dancing. He plays an electric violin. I think he did the Devil Went Down to Georgia, and he had the whole conference up and dancing. So he's going to be joining us as well to, of course, play and talk a little bit about his experience as a little brother. And it is over at Early Works Museum on January 29th. We've got tickets and sponsorships still available. I think it's going to be a really fantastic event.
Yeah, well, it sounds like a lot of fun and a way to celebrate this organization and those who are right there again, the heart and soul, the bigs who make themselves available to help these young people on their journey in life. And of course, I would be remiss if I did not give you a chance to celebrate your sponsors, because again, when we talk about activities like this and events like this, so much of it lies on the back of those who see an opportunity to invest in that space. And so you've got sponsors out there that are coming to the table. And of course, there are still opportunities, I'm sure. So talk a little bit about that.
Sure. We have a handful of committed sponsors that have signed up to sponsor the event. We don't have that shared yet. I will be sharing that in January, earlier this year, a full list of our sponsors. So there's a little bit of an opportunity left for anybody listening. We'll probably close out sponsorships in about 2 weeks. So those will be posted soon. But two of our kind of feature sponsors are Radiance Technologies as well as Colso.
All right. Yeah. Well, I mean, there may be people again out there listening today who want to be part of that. Could be part of, again, your investment in the new year as you think about our transitioning to the new year. Today, of course, is our very first show in January. And so we, of course, have an opportunity to kind of look into the future and see this as an opportunity to be engaged in a variety of different ways. We've had the opportunity this afternoon to talk with Meghan Park. She's CEO of Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Tennessee Valley, an organization that is on the ground every day making a difference in the lives of young people. And there may be people listening this afternoon who want more information about how they can get involved. They may want information about how they can volunteer to support some of the initiatives and maybe not be big, but certainly be involved. There may be people who know, unfortunately the list is long, but you may be saying, hey, I need to get this young person on the list, the waiting list for the littles. That may be your investment this afternoon. You may want to be a sponsor. You may want to be a supporter, make a donation. There are lots of ways to support this amazing nonprofit organization that has been doing yeoman's work in this community for a number of years now. Meghan, how would people reach out to you, learn more about you? Tell us about your social media presence if you have that.
Yes, you can find us online. Our website is bbbstv.org, or just Google Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Tennessee Valley, and you will find us. You can call us at 256-880-2123, and you can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, and LinkedIn.
All right. Do that one more time, because people might have been, scrambling for something to write on or just waiting to hear it one more time, as they often do.
So our website's probably the easiest way to find us. You'll also find more information about honoring our mentors, as well as what's involved with becoming a big or enrolling your child. You can also apply directly through our website, and that is bbbstv.org. That stands for Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Tennessee Valley. And then you can also call us at 256-880-2123.
All right. It's 2026. Any big ideas or big plans for yourself during this coming year?
For our organization, yes. I can't announce full details yet as it's not finalized, but we will be launching our very first school-based program since reopening in the new year. And I'm very excited for that.
Yeah. Personally, anything on the horizon? I mean, some people have growth plans and things that are going on, just not digging, just asking.
I was sitting there and thinking about that on our drive back home yesterday, and what the personal mission is going to be for this coming year. I think for myself, it's just to double down on last year's New Year's resolution, which I'm still working on, which is just to build more connection and relationships within our community, and to deepen the connections and relationships that I already have. That has been something that has always paid dividends, and I look forward to doing it more, especially being new back into Huntsville, sort of new.
Yeah, well, we got the kind of community, I think, that lends itself to that, because there's so many different points of connection and so many different networking opportunities and events that go on. And I know you take advantage of those to the extent that you can and need to, and of course will continue to do so. I'm already looking to the Community Foundation's annual event. That's one of the favorite ones for me. It used to be Nonprofit University. Now it's
Navigate.
Yeah, I've said Navigate a number of times and it just slipped my mind. But Navigate, which I think is one of the most important ones for nonprofits out there, especially who are looking to next level their experience in the nonprofit space, whether you're a CEO, a board member, a staff member, a volunteer. This is just the one-stop shop that is amazing. So look out for that on the Community Foundation's page. It always sells out and it's growing every year. It's a great.
That is actually where I first met you. I think 3 years ago, I attended a session you did with Kathy Miller that was fantastic about collaboration building, and that is 100% how I operate as a nonprofit leader. So I'll look forward to the next one. Are you presenting again?
If they ask me, I will. I kind of, look forward to them asking me. So if they ask me, I'll come.
I hope so. Hope to hear from you and hope to attend some of your future sessions as well. I attended the one in December and it was great.
Yes, absolutely. Megan, we look forward to another opportunity. And of course, I look forward to seeing you at the Honoring Our Mentors event later this year.
You as well. Hope you have a great rest of your day. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me on.
All right. Take care. All right. Megan Parks joining us this afternoon for a great conversation about big brothers, big sisters of the Tennessee Valley and all of the great work that they're doing in that space. Don't forget honoring our mentors. You know what I didn't do? I didn't tell you when it was. Honoring Our Mentors takes place at the end of this month. I believe it's January the 27th. It takes place at the Early Works Museum in downtown Huntsville, 6:00 p.m., I believe. We didn't talk about place and time, Megan. Oh, my goodness. But I'll make sure that people know about that and make sure that they get the correct information. I said January. I don't want to start thumbing through my calendar here, but because I didn't get that in, I'm going to do it right now. Something I don't normally do. So it's actually going to be January the 27th, I believe, and 29th. Okay. I see you there. January 29th, and it's at Early Works Museum in downtown Huntsville. I can't believe that that got past me. I was just so engrossed in that conversation that it missed the opportunity, but we'll make sure, and we're posting that too on our Second Chance. That's the number 2 ND Facebook page. We're also posting that on the number 2 ND Chance Instagram page, as well as the X page as well, X Twitter page, and of course on my pages, Kenny Anderson, and my LinkedIn pages as well. So we look forward to having that as an opportunity. My next guest is up and ready to be introduced at this time, I believe, and I'll go ahead and bring him into the feed at this time. My next guest is joining me for the first time today. His name is Christopher Phelps, and Christopher is a graduate of North Carolina A&T State University. He has earned an MBA from Drexel University in finance. And he has launched an initiative called Financipation on YouTube. Chris, are you ready there? I'm seeing you there, and I've got the visual. Want to make sure we're good on everything. How you doing this afternoon?
I'm doing good. Can you hear me, Kenneth?
Yeah, I can hear you well. Thanks for joining me this afternoon. And we're grateful to be able to have this conversation. Talk to me a little bit. Now, let me set this up first of all. My wife and I had a chance to travel to Orlando, Florida during Thanksgiving. We did something very different than we normally do because her family's pretty big and in this area. So we usually do the family thing in Huntsville, and we've done that for 30 years now. As we've been together for 30 years. We've been married for 25. But we had a wonderful experience at the home of Dan and Rebecca Smith. And of course, anytime you go to the Smith's house, which was our first time, I imagine it's a place where you're going to meet some fascinating people because Dan and Rebecca are fascinating people. And so Christopher and his wife were one of the guests who were there. And we had an awesome conversation during that time. And I've had conversations since that time. And I wanted him to come on the show today for the first of what I hope will be several opportunities to not just tell you more about what he's doing, but also to share information about the initiative that he has launched on YouTube that I think can be very valuable for people listening, especially with this being the first part of the new year. This is our first show of the new year, January 4th. So let me say Happy New Year to you also, Christopher.
No, Happy New Year as well. It's nice to be here. It's a blessing, and thank you, Kenneth. I appreciate it. Thank you.
It is indeed a blessing. You know, life is we live it.
Precious.
We understand it's precious and valuable, and it's fleeting. So it's good to be here in this space in this moment. Financipation is such a dope name for an initiative to me. You know, it's new, it's fresh, it's something that attracts your attention. It's clearly something that has value to you. But by the end of this conversation, we want people to understand why it also should have value to them. So I know it was driven and motivated by some of the life career choices you had been on, the journey you've been on, but talk to me a little bit more about how you launched Financipation.
Well, thank you, Kenneth. First off, it's a pleasure to be here. So I'll start at the beginning. As most minorities in this country, we kind of come from humble working class beginnings. And I could just never understand why is it that, like, for instance, my grandfather who worked hard his entire life, the guy, U.S. military, Korean War veteran, Army veteran, worked for Chrysler in Chicago and ultimately Indianapolis, which was where he started his family. How is it you can work hard for literally 50 years of your life and retire poor and broke? When I saw some of the white guys that he worked with, who he used to play cards with, they retired relatively wealthy. Their kids were driving Maseratis. They were going to private schools and stuff like that. Same thing with the Latino gentlemen and stuff like that. But a lot of the guys that my grandfather worked with that were also black, as they got older and older and older, they got sicker and sicker and sicker and poorer and poorer. And it never made any sense to him. I was like, how can you work hard your entire life and be broke? And it wasn't because my grandfather was lazy. It was not because he was stupid. It wasn't because he just did not want to work. It's because he had never understood with his third grade education coming from Pulaski, Tennessee, and coming from my grandmother came from Jackson, Mississippi. They did not know, they were never taught the importance of how to invest your money and things like that. And I saw the same thing with most of my cousins and my family members. They joined the military. Some of them were teachers. Some of them worked at Chrysler, and they worked hard for literally 50 years and they died broke. And I was like, the math ain't math and something is not right with this picture. So growing up in the family that I grew up in, my parents were also U.S. military, and they pushed essentially playing sports, working really hard, being good at getting a good education, and they actually having a relationship with God. So because of that, as I got older and I was always good at math, I realized it was by far the least racist of all the subjects. If you get good at math, 1 + 1 was always going to be 2. So as a result of that, I realized football was my meal ticket. Even though I was an athlete, it was my meal ticket. And as a result of that, I took my love for learning, my love for math. I became a mechanical engineer. And when I got my engineering degree, I was like, okay, cool. Now I have the engineering degree. I have the vehicle that's going to teach me that's going to basically make me the money. Now I need to go back to college and figure out how to invest it. So as a result, just like you said earlier, I got my MBA from Drexel University. Shout out to all the guys who work 60 hours a week and play a semi-pro sport and go to grad school at night. That was my life for 2 years. So God bless you, because I never want to go through that again. 2 hours. 2 hours of sleep is no joke. But on a real level, though, as a result of me getting my MBA in finance, I learned how money works. I learned how to invest in the stock market. I learned whether or not I wanted to get into cryptos or option trading or gold or precious metals or mutual funds. I learned how to read a balance sheet. I learned how to understand the returns on your investment and things like that. And when I realized all that stuff, I said, okay, Grandpa, I'm doing this for you because you worked hard your entire life. And if you had known this stuff when you were 18, if I had known this stuff when I was 18 as well, but if you had known this stuff when you were 18, your entire generational tree would have been different. Your grandkids would have probably been decking millionaires. And that's the power of knowledge. That's the power of school. So when I got my MBA, I said, okay, cool. I should not have to, I spent $125,000 to get my MBA. And I was like, okay, why is it that you have to spend $125,000 to learn this stuff? This is ridiculous. And at the time that I was getting my MBA, YouTube was obviously around. I got my MBA in 2012, but it wasn't nearly the vehicle of education that it is today. Back in 2012, check out a video from YouTube that's 15 years. It's a whole different level. It was completely different back then. But when I was getting my MBA, I realized, okay, why is it I don't see any YouTubers out here who look like us, Kenneth, that are basically talking about the ministry of financial literacy? Because this is the kind of stuff that should be boxed up and taken all over the world. It's taken to the hood, to the projects, to the trailer parks, all over the country. Why is it you got to spend $125,000 at a phenomenal institution like Drexel University to understand essentially how to invest into the stocks and how to basically quadruple your money? So as a result of that, I created Financipation. And if you are wondering how I got the name, Financial Emancipation, I basically put them together. Because at the end of the day, when people understand how money truly works and they understand essentially how to become financially literate, they literally make completely different choices in their lives. I was telling somebody the other day that I've met women that they are extremely abusive men. And when they find out exactly how a mutual fund works, or how an index fund works, or what the rule of 72 is, or why they should max out their HSA, or why they should max out their Roth IRA, they dump that loser and basically go find a man that appreciates them. I met guys that are in abusive, toxic marriages, and when they understand exactly how money works, I literally see that guy go from being, for lack of a better word, a simp and a weekly to saying, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to spend our money. We're going to save it. We're going to invest our money. I've literally seen people walk away from toxic environments, toxic work environments, negative bosses because they finally understand how money actually works. And that's why I started Financipation, because I want to give the knowledge that I spent $125,000 for. I want to give that knowledge basically to anyone who's willing to listen to it for free on YouTube, obviously.
Yeah.
And be in my one-on-one. So yeah.
Yeah, this is really interesting because a lot of times when people experience what you did, you know, the desire to learn more, and you go back and get your degree, you spend a lot of money to do that. You want to go work on Wall Street. You want to go work on some kind of financial entity, some business, some organization, make lots and lots and lots of money through that process. And you're in a position where you're saying you've started this financial literacy education through YouTube, hoping to reach the masses, and anybody will listen who wants to learn and develop skills and practices that can help their lives. And it's kind of interesting that you've chosen that path. Tell me why you chose that path. And I'm not saying you're not making any money. I'm just saying, you know, a lot of people would have approached it a lot differently. Why did you approach the path that you approached?
Well, I had two reasons. For one, I came from a relatively I got a mechanical engineering degree essentially. So I already had a very lucrative career prior to me going to grad school at night. So I didn't come from a position where I quote unquote had to go to Wall Street, if you will. Secondly, I think I mentioned earlier about more or less playing two sports semi-professionally. I was in a position where I've always been an athlete my entire life. My dad, like I said, he always pushed good grades, have a relationship with God, and basically play sports. So I've literally been an athlete my entire life. You name a sport, I played it. Simple as that. So as a result of that, I hated sitting at a desk all day, every day. Kenneth, when I was even as a mechanical engineer, still to this day, I picked a career in engineering where I can basically get up and walk around and kind of intermingle with the people who work for me, so that I don't have to sit at a desk all day. So the reason why I did not go to Wall Street when I graduated with my MBA, and then full disclosure, I did get job offers to go to Wall Street, and I also still to this day get job offers to work for different financial institutions and things like that. But for a variety of reasons, I kind of like being a subcontractor, doing the way that I'm doing it, because it's a little bit more lenient as far as the coaching that I can do and stuff like that. But the reason why I did not go to Wall Street was because I hated sitting at a desk as a mechanical engineer for 60 hours a week. And a lot of my buddies who went to Wall Street, they sit at desks for like 115 hours a week. So to me, that didn't really, I was not really feeling that. And another thing too, a lot of the finance types that I met, at least the ones I know that went to Wall Street, the guys I went to school with, they all burned out after about 3 or 4 years. I mean, I've been doing what I've been doing for 12 years. And I get more fired up about it, to be honest with you. I'm not burned out in any capacity. So yeah.
Yeah. Where do you want to take this mission? Because you're clearly on a mission to educate and to help as many people as possible, whosoever will that will listen. Where do you hope to take this process?
Honestly, just like you said, take it to the masses. I want to be the largest financial YouTube channel. I'm going to be the largest financial literacy channel on YouTube. If you were to give me a goal, it would be that. Ultimately, I want to get to the point where it completely supplants my completely supplants my W-2 salary, if you want to call it that. But I mean, honestly, I've always looked at Financipation as just one extra vehicle to essentially help me build generational wealth, hit my 4% rule decades faster. And then basically, if I want to retire on a beach with my wife and my kids in Mali somewhere, or Singapore or Portugal or Colombia or wherever it's going to be, or retire here in the United States. But that's my ultimate goal. I want to essentially make Financipation the #1 financial literacy channel on YouTube. And more importantly, take the business aspect of Financipation, just continue to do one-on-ones, continue to train my my advisors and my coaches about essentially how to teach people how to build generational wealth, and essentially help as many people as possible achieve financial literacy. It's a very interesting concept, Kenneth, because if you actually take a look at it, a lot of times I see this narrative go around all the time that Black Americans are poor and that Hispanic Americans are poor. And there's literally no truth to that. The combined spending power of African Americans and Latino Americans is over 4.5 trillion with a T dollars. So as a result of that, not only are we not poor, if we were actually taught how to actually invest the money that we make, we would be the wealthiest. We would be the wealthiest group in history. If African Americans and Caribbean Americans who reside in the United States of America, and Africans who reside in the United States of America, if we invested 20 to 25% of our income over the next 40 years, we would be worth over 190 trillion with a T dollars by 2065. And we're recording this in 2025. So I'm saying that to say this: there's nothing poor about the African Americans, nothing poor about the or the Latino American community. There's nothing poor about the Black community. We just were never taught how to properly invest our money. And the thing I do about Financipation is I take extremely complicated, very difficult things that I learned in grad school, and I figure out a way to package it and teach it to a 7-year-old or a 9-year-old. It's the same thing I do in my engineering career. So I know how to basically take extremely billion-dollar type concepts and break them down to very small, very simple to easy to understand, digestible points. And that's what we do at Financipation. And I want to take that message literally to the rest of the world.
This is the first show of the brand new year. And of course, most of the conversations I've had today have centered around the notion of people who are making resolutions and saying they're going to have a transformative year and they're going to do something different than they did last year. One of the areas that people focuses on at this time of year are finances, and rightly so. Perhaps this is a good time to look at how people are confronting their financial journey. If there are people listening this afternoon who are in that particular area and they're saying, I want to do something better for myself this year, something to improve myself, of course, we want them to connect with Financipation. You got to get over there to YouTube, folk, and check it out. But beyond that, what would you say would be a good starting point for somebody who is perhaps just not in a position where they've got it all together, haven't spent a lot of time thinking about it, but now they've been maybe inspired in this moment by this conversation to say there's something I can do?
Got you.
Yes, for them.
So there's a couple of different things I always advise everybody to do, whether you make $30,000, $80,000, $300,000 a year, or $3 million a year. And depending on what your status is, so the first thing I always tell people to do is this: you have to pick a vehicle that's going to allow you to build some form of income, whether that's blue collar, if you're an electrician, a plumber, a carpenter, a cop, marine, whatever it is. You have to pick a career that's going to allow you to essentially get out of bed every morning and work. Now, whether you want to be an entrepreneur, whether you want to go blue collar, whether you want to go the route that I went, which was white collar, and become an engineer, you got to pick a vehicle that's going to allow you to essentially have a job. And that's going to give you healthcare. That's going to possibly give you other benefits as well. The next thing I always tell people to do is this: make sure that you walk into your HR person's office and ask them straight up, do you have a 401k match? And the reason why I say that is for the very simple reason: it is literally free money, people. Imagine if I were to walk up to you and say, give me $5,000 on Valentine's Day. And Kenneth, I would give you $10,000 on Christmas Day. Would you take that deal? Yes or no?
Yes.
Exactly. Why? Because it's $5,000 of free money.
Yeah.
But so many Americans do not actually take advantage of their employer's 401k match. So I don't care what your socioeconomic status is. Generally speaking, you can essentially invest up to your employer's 401k match. So those are the first two things I tell you. The next thing I tell you is this: you have to establish a good financial base. Imagine you're trying to build a tower and you got a weak base. That tower is going to collapse. So you have to basically make sure you have a good financial tower. And in a finance world, a good financial tower, everybody, is having an emergency fund, or a financipation fund, as I call it. Because you have to have, okay, if your wife gets pregnant, or your girl gets pregnant, or your son breaks his leg, or your boiler blows out in Chicago in the middle of winter, or your AC unit blows out in the middle of Miami, you got to have some kind of emergency fund that says, okay, cool, when crap hits the fan, and crap is going to hit the fan, you got to have an emergency fund. I personally say have a 3-month emergency fund, just because some people say having $1,000 emergency fund. The average apartment in America right now costs $1,800 a month. So to me, $1,000 emergency fund, that's not even half a month worth of rent. So that's kind of a dinosaur. Having said that, if you have a 3-month emergency fund, that's generally a decent enough amount so that you can kind of deal with the issues that life gives you. So those are the first 3 things I tell people to do: pick a career / job that's going to get you out of bed, because there is an idea about actually getting up and going to work, whether it's for yourself or for someone else, that gets you into the mindset, okay, I'm a productive human being. I'm putting good out here in the universe, that gets you out of bed and gets you moving. Secondly, you have to invest up to your employer's 401k match. Then third, I would say get a 3-month emergency fund. And I have other points. I have other points I can go into as well, Kenneth, if you want to. But if you say, if I were to give you 3 points, those are the first 3 points I would tell anybody to do. I don't care whether you work at McDonald's and make $20,000 a year, or you're a hedge fund manager and you're making $800,000 a year. Those are the first 3 things that you should do.
Yeah. Let me ask you this. This is fascinating to me, of course, because I know we talk a lot about what we know, but we don't always, I'm saying we generically, but we don't always address what we know. So what we do know is that most people are living paycheck to paycheck. Most people don't have enough money saved. We know that in the midst of a crisis, many people's economic house will collapse in a moment. I mean, we know those things, but we also know that there's some things that we can do to address those things. But one of the biggest things we have to overcome is something you just suggested in what you said, is the mindset that I can't afford to do it. And the reality is that I can't afford not to do it. So talk to that mindset for just a few moments about this notion of people who kind of say, well, I can't afford to do that, or they haven't conditioned themselves or disciplined themselves enough to do what they need to do.
I would say it's all the education level, and it's a mental barrier that you have to go through. We are both obviously people of color, Kenneth, and one of the biggest, I would say, issues that certain people in our community have is that they just never seen it before. They see us be rappers, they see us be ball players, they see us basically dancing and stuff like that, but they don't see young black men or young black women talking about, yo, I just put $10,000 into this index fund, and it basically made me $50,000 last month. That's not a conversation that we hear a lot in the hood, and we need to change that. So the way I would tell people to basically change their mindset is, cool, you are in the perfect location. I have over 500 videos on Financipation where I'm literally walking you through exactly how to build wealth. So you start seeing people that, quote unquote, look like you, or they come from the same environments you come from, or they're talking the same language you want to talk, regardless of what the color of your skin is. We start seeing people that are young, that are actually talking about, okay, this is how you essentially, this is what the rule of 72 is. This is what the 4% rule is. This is what a health savings account is, and why you should go to HSA versus FSA. This is why you should get term life insurance versus whole life insurance. When you start hearing these things and people are basically breaking them down, and I'm breaking them down on Financipation into simple, easy to understand concepts, your confidence starts to improve. It's no different from if you hire a personal trainer to teach you how to shoot a firearm or teach you how to shoot a basketball. If you hire the right people, you surround yourself with experts, they can basically walk you through how to become good at pretty much anything in this planet. And finance, everybody, is no different. When I was in grad school, I was blown away at how people specifically would say, this is the term we're going to use because we want to make this concept sound as difficult as possible so that people have to keep coming back to you, Chris, every month, so you basically keep making money off of them. I was like, yeah, but if I explain it, if I use a $2 word to explain this $5,000 word you're trying to use, everybody will understand it. And it's like, no, don't do that, because if you do that, then you won't get a residual client. And to me, that was kind of crazy. So I'm saying that to say this: if you watch, quote, for instance, Financipation, I'm breaking down very complicated, quote unquote, ideas into the extremely simple concepts that anybody can understand. I'm saying that because I have a 9-year-old, I have 9-year-olds, and I have 10-year-olds that hit me up about different questions. And I'm basically having conversations with them that I was not hearing about until I was in grad school. And I know how to make this stuff sound extremely simple. So that's the first thing we have to get by, Ken. If the person says that they know they have to do better, but they can't, I just tell them basically, cool, come to my channel, and I guarantee you're going to find things. I'm guarantee I'm going to break these quote unquote very difficult things down so that anybody can understand it. That's the first thing you have to do. Secondly, financial literacy, everybody, is not, I don't want to say that it's not hard, but it's not hard. What I mean by that is this: if you are smart enough to essentially become a Marine, or you're smart enough to become a cop, or you're smart enough to essentially become a teacher, or you're smart enough to essentially become a blue collar electrician or a carpenter or things like that, finance to some extent is not that challenging. The stock market is not that challenging. They try to make it sound intentionally harder than it actually has to be so that they can continue to keep their bottom line. But when you meet the type of people like myself who have a good heart, who understand essentially how it works and how you can invest your money and essentially multiply it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, you start to get the confidence and say, you know what, I understand this stuff now. And I'll give you one last example. I recently, because of what I do for a living and my 9 to 5 and my business hustles and stuff like that, God has blessed me. Me and my wife are in a pretty good financial place. So because of that, I look like an absolute bloody shark, bloody whale in the water when it comes to financial advisors, because they call me and say, oh, cool, we got this guy right here, and he makes this kind of salary, and he's doing this, and this on LinkedIn, and this and all this kind of stuff. So as a result of that, I have financial advisors call me literally all the time, and it's a hilarious conversation, because within 30 seconds, they realize they have called the wrong guy, because I know exactly what to ask these guys. And basically, they go from being basically King Kong to feeling like a beaten monkey. I mean, seriously, it's hilarious. They go from essentially thinking that I'm going to be their meal ticket to essentially allow their kids to retire and go to Ivy League school off of my salary, off the percentage of income they're going to invest on my salary every day. They go from feeling like that to say, okay, this guy really knows what he's talking about. And as a result, we can't steal his money. And I say that to say this. People a lot of times are going to call you if a financial advisor or a financial planner is going to call you because they have your best interest at heart. It's because they have their best interest at heart. You're equipped with the actual knowledge of finance. You know, Kenneth, are you there?
Yes.
All right, perfect. So when you get equipped with the actual rule skills of financial literacy, you kind of know, for lack of a better word, BS when you see it. It says recording error, open the recording tab to learn more. We're good?
We're good.
All right, 10-4. Cool. So that's kind of how I would answer that question, Kenneth. Just financial literacy, learn your craft. And if you don't know, if you don't understand the way how to build wealth, just watch Financipation. Like I said, I have over 500 videos where I basically break down these videos. Most of them, 90% of them are less than 15 minutes long, where I basically break down exactly how to make money, how to save money, how to invest money, how to build generational wealth, and how to financially emancipate yourself from generational poverty. That is what I do, and I thoroughly enjoy it.
Tell people again how they can reach out to you and learn more about Financipation on YouTube.
Cool. Well, first off, go to YouTube, type in Financipation, just like it's spelled on the screen, Financipation, and subscribe to my channel. And hit that button in the top right, and I drop new content. I drop content literally every day. That's one way you can find me. In addition, you can go to therealfinancipation.com. That's my website. You can book a one-on-one session with me because depending on what you're looking for, I can go into a lot more detail as far as like trust, wills, how to set up your business, entrepreneurship, S corp versus L corp, that kind of stuff. That's another way you can find me. Additionally, I have my Spotify page. You can check me out there. You can go to Facebook and find me on my Facebook tribe, The Real Financipation. I'm there as well. And that's essentially how you can find me. Go and send me an email, therealfinancipation@gmail.com. So those are some of the ways that you can find me. And I'm on every streaming platform. I'm also on every social media platform. In addition, I'm also on TikTok as well, Financipation. So that's how you can find me, Kenneth.
He's not hiding, folks. He's Christopher Phelps, and he's here to help your financial journey be a lot smoother and a lot more rewarding. I hope that you'll take advantage of that. Christopher, I look forward to have additional conversations with you in the future.
Hey, Kenneth, you just broke up again. Can you say that again?
Just look forward to having you back again in the future.
Absolutely. Looking forward to doing it, and make sure I'm in a better venue next time, okay?
All right. No problem, man. This is good information. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you. God bless, man. Take it easy, Kenneth. Peace.
Likewise. Peace. Great way to end our broadcast today. Christopher Phelps with Financipation, sharing some great information about the work that he's doing in financial literacy, making that available to all people. I want to thank my guest today, Vince Rountree. Vince is a National Board Certified Health and Wellness Coach, sharing information about the Redline Challenge that begins on tomorrow. You can be a part of it at the redlinechallenge.com. Justin Lockett and Zion, one of his mentees from the League of Legacy Mentoring Program. Of course, Justin is the curator of Jared M. Lockett Foundation, and grateful to have that conversation with him this afternoon. My friend David Trofort, author of Eat, Pray, Run, a food, faith, and fitness guide for new and renewed runners. Great conversation with him this afternoon. And Meghan Parks, the CEO of Big Brothers, Big Sisters of the Tennessee Valley, as well as, of course, Christopher Phelps with Financipation. Grateful to have all of them on this afternoon. On next Sunday, we've got our first round of quarterly sessions. Drake State presents Perspectives in Higher Education. We've got United Way Sunday. Cadence Bank presents And Service and Valor with Captain Washington Johnson II. We hope that you'll tune in at that time. I promised you earlier that I would be sharing with you some thoughts on why I'm treating 2026 like a portfolio, not a promise. Every January, we see the same cycle. We make resolutions, rigid promises that rely entirely on willpower. For example, I will lose 20 pounds. I will write every day. The problem? A resolution is binary. You either keep it or you break it. One slip up and the promise feels broken, leading to abandonment by February. This year, try shifting your mindset from resolutions to investments. An investment is different. It expects volatility. If the market dips, you miss a workout. You don't sell everything. Knowing that if you hold on, the trend is going to be upward. It focuses on a return on investment. You aren't just doing hard things. You are allocating resources, time, energy to get a return, energy, and clarity. It compounds. Small deposits made consistently are worth more than one massive lump sum that drains your account. The shift then is, instead of I resolve to run a marathon, try I am investing 1 hour every morning in my cardiovascular health to generate more energy for my workday. Stop making promises you might break and start making investments that pay you back. A note on volatility: if you miss a payment, that is, skip a workout or eat a poor meal, don't close the account. Simply make a deposit the next day to keep the compounding active. I want to once again wish each of you a very happy new year and great blessings and great success on this journey in 2026. I look forward to joining you again on next week. Remember, as always, knowledge is better than riches. Have a great afternoon, and we'll talk again soon. Good day.
Thank you for tuning in to Second Chance. We hope that the information that was shared has been a blessing to you and that your life will be enriched as a result of it. We'd love to hear from you, so please send your email comments to Kenneth Anderson at mxlife@aol.com. That's mxlife@aol.com. And check out our Facebook page, 2ND Chance. That's 2ND Chance. In the meantime, have a great week, and we'll talk to you again next week. Good day.